Hi, I'm Hilma Volk, and I'm going to go through a few neck stretch hacks. What do I mean by hacks? I mean doing stretches that help you stretch faster than just doing regular stretches without injuring yourself. You never ever want to force a stretch anywhere in your body because you can tear little muscle fibers or even bigger muscle fibers, and that'll cause you agony later and make stretching even more difficult and creating scar tissue and nasty stuff like that. So you never want to force a stretch. Always stretch. You can stretch the edge of comfort but not beyond. So first stretch, you want to take one arm, hold it, and hold your hand underneath the chair or underneath your butt, whichever works best, and stretch the opposite way. Just let your head fall. You can hold it with your hand, but you don't want to force anything. Always be gentle. But to help that stretch go better, bring your head the opposite way against your hand. Put pressure against that palm of your hand. And then when you stretch, you should be able to stretch a lot further. So you can hold this stretch maybe even as little as 10 seconds, and then stretch again, resist again for several seconds, and then you should be able to stretch much further than if you would be stretching for 30 seconds and relaxing, and then another 30 seconds and another 30 seconds. So you can stretch longer than I just did too, but notice how much difference I achieved in that little period of time just stretching that way. And so you can do the other side. Make sure you hold that arm down, because otherwise when you stretch you're bringing your whole arm up with you. You don't want to do that. So just a gentle stretch and then resist by using your neck muscles to push against that hand, and then you can hold the stretch for 10 seconds or longer, up to 30 seconds, but you don't need to do that with this method, with this hack. And push again, and you can usually stretch a little further. And you can do that several times if you want, but your neck is so different than any other joint area in the body because it can turn in so many directions. Because not only can you turn your head sideways, but there's a curve in your neck. You can curve it all kinds of different ways. So you want to experiment and find out which direction that you hold your head hurts or is most uncomfortable. And you can stretch down that way. Again, hold the opposite arm down so you're not pulling it up. And just stretch down gently, 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 and then resist for several seconds. And then when you stretch again, you'll get a better stretch. And the reason this works is because when you're stretching, you can keep doing that stretch back and forth if you want. When you're stretching a muscle, muscles are full of nerves, and they try to protect the muscle. So when your muscle stretches, not as far as it can, but when it stretches a little bit, your nerves in there, they have a certain little intelligence of their own. They will try to protect that muscle by saying, no, you're not going to stretch any further. But then when you resist, you're using the muscle, and that confuses it. So that when you do the stretch and your nerves are saying, that's as far as you can go, then you confuse it by working those muscles. Suddenly you can stretch a lot further and hold it. The same is true if you're turning your head to the side and you turn your head as far as you go, push against your hand, and then you should be able to stretch a lot further, and do that several times on each side. So I'll just do it this way. there's a limit to how far it'll stretch, of course, but you always want to do that gently. But by doing the stretch resistance stretches, you'll get much better stretches than if you just plain stretched. And you can do that with any muscle in your body, whether it's your hamstrings or anywhere else. Stretch out as far as you comfortably can, then pull back using the opposite muscles, and then stretch forward again, and you'll find that you can stretch further quicker than you normally could just by regular stretching. This is Hilma Volk. You can look at my website, carpaltunnelmaster.com, which is self-help for carpal tunnel syndrome and false carpal tunnel syndromes.